New photo of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has been released by the US Department of Justice as part of the Epstein files. James Matthews has more.
There you go. If you can see that, that is a group of individuals and most of their identities redacted.
The release of the latest Epstein files has produced many familiar names, but one image has landed with particular force in royal circles. It shows Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, dressed in a black tie suit, lying fully across the laps of 5 women on a sofa, smiling, relaxed, and unmistakably at ease. Standing nearby, looking down at him, is Ghislaine Maxwell. The photograph is now circulating worldwide, not because it proves anything new, but because it shows something the Duke of York has spent years denying. Comfort, familiarity, a closeness with people and settings he has long described as exaggerated or misrepresented. The question many royal watchers are asking tonight is simple. If this was all so innocent, why does every new image make it harder to believe that version of events? The photograph comes from a fresh release of material tied to Jeffrey Epstein, uploaded late Friday to the website of the United States Department of Justice.
That is a group of individuals and most of their identities redacted, but there's a woman standing in the back row, that's Ghislaine Maxwell. There is a man lying across the laps of the woman sitting down, and you see it.
Thousands of images and documents were made public after a legal deadline triggered by the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So many people tried to access the files that the Department of Justice website briefly placed users in a virtual queue due to demand. Among those images is this one. A photograph of a photograph, sitting in a frame, its original context unclear. No date, no location, no caption. Just Andrew, 5 unidentified women whose faces have been obscured, and Ghislaine Maxwell watching from above. Andrew is smiling broadly. His face is close to the bare legs of one woman. His posture is not stiff or formal. It is loose, casual, familiar. For years, Andrew has insisted that his association with Epstein was limited, that he did not enjoy the lifestyle, that he did not socialize in the way others claim. Yet this image tells a different story. Not through allegation, but through body language. It shows a man who looks entirely at home.
Virginia Giuffre, the woman who accused Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew of crimes, has died, aged 41. Her family has issued a statement confirming she died by suicide at her farm near Perth overnight.
According to the Department of Justice, hundreds of thousands of documents are scheduled for release, though officials say some material will be staggered to protect the identities of victims and third parties. This image was part of the first tranche. Andrew stepped back from royal duties in late 2019 after his disastrous Newsnight interview, an appearance that even palace insiders later admitted was a turning point. In that interview, he attempted to explain his friendship with Epstein and denied allegations made by Virginia Giuffre, who said she encountered him as a teenager through Epstein. Andrew has always denied those claims. But denial has never been the problem. The problem has been credibility. Since that interview, Andrew has lived largely out of sight, some say shielded by his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, and later stripped of public roles under his brother's reign. His HRH style was removed, his remaining military affiliations were returned, and his public funding was cut. Still, he's insisted on silence. That silence has drawn renewed criticism in recent weeks, after American lawmakers publicly requested that he cooperate with inquiries linked to Epstein. According to reports, he missed a deadline to respond. Now, as these images circulate, that silence feels louder than ever. The photograph does not show a crime. It does not come with allegations attached, but it shows a social dynamic that Andrew has repeatedly downplayed. He is not standing at a polite distance. He is not caught mid-conversation. He is lying across multiple women in a black tie setting, with Maxwell present, smiling approvingly. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If this was a normal social evening, why has Andrew spent years distancing himself from everyone in it? The exact date and location of the photograph remain unclear. That is important to say. The Department of Justice has not provided background details for many of the images released so far. But the lack of context cuts both ways. Because without context, the image speaks for itself. It shows familiarity, trust, and a lack of boundaries that sits uneasily alongside Andrew's later claims that he barely knew Maxwell, that he did not enjoy Epstein's social world, and that he kept his distance. Royal watchers will remember that Andrew once described his decision to stay with Epstein at his New York residence after Epstein's conviction as a mistake, but framed it as poor judgment rather than deep involvement. Images like this make that explanation harder to sustain. It is also worth noting that Ghislaine Maxwell, now serving a lengthy prison sentence in the United States, appears relaxed and central in the photograph. She is not on the margins. She is part of the scene. That matters because Andrew has previously tried to separate Epstein from Maxwell in his explanations, as though one relationship did not imply the other. This image suggests otherwise. The release of these files follows months of political pressure in the United States to make Epstein-related material public. Officials have said that while not every document will contain new revelations, transparency is now legally required. As one Justice Department official put it, the material includes court records, photographs, footage, and investigative files, released not for entertainment, but because the law demands it. Andrew, however, remains a public figure, whose reputation is already badly damaged. Each new release does not reset the story. It adds weight to it. This photograph will likely join a small group of images that define public memory. The Newsnight interview, the photograph of Andrew with his arm around Virginia Giuffre, and now this. None of them require commentary. They simply exist. And that is what makes them powerful.
And the man, formerly the Duke of York, that's the first time we have seen him in this current tranche of files. The British connection. I can tell you there is more to the British connection, Matt. That comes in Jeffrey Epstein's contacts book. And I do stress again that to be in Epstein's contacts book does not indicate or reflect anything to do with his criminal activity at all. It merely tells us that these names and numbers were in his contact book, frankly, but...
So here is the question for you. Does this image change how you see Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor? Or does it simply confirm what you already believed? Do you think there's more to come? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay up to date with royal family news, be sure to subscribe.